Doing, my beautiful white line agents? Colin here, and today is day 7 of our 3 clients in 30 days. Let me read the book for you by Krista Mashore. Well, that's not the name of the book. That's the name of her book. I'm reading the book for you. And we're going to be talking today about confidence in your conversations and follow up. So, one of the interesting problems that most people have is whenever they want to make phone calls, when they want to start doing those kind of things, they are scared to death. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Do you have a script? Do you have any of this stuff? Listen, guys, when it comes to a script, I will let you know that I'm not a big fan of them. Now, I'm not saying they're not important. If you're a sales guy and you're like, oh, this is my sales script, I do think having a sales script memorized is pretty important. However, I don't really provide them here in real estate because our sales scripts would be so long. And it's really hard to go through that and memorize all that. And it's helpful to have it memorized because sometimes, somebody will ask you a question and that little memory part will come back forward. But I think it's more important to have confidence. And why confidence matters more than a script is because people don't buy from robots. If you are reading a script, that means you are talking 90% of the time, and God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should be listening twice as much as you talk. And it's not about the robotic, like, did I say all the things I need to say? They buy from people that they trust. And so instilling trust comes from being yourself, being you. Okay. Everybody speaks differently. Like, a lot of people are like, Colin, you're so good. You just pick up the camera and you start filming. And it's because I've practiced it. Okay. And confidence is all about like your tone, your energy, and knowing that you can help, not memorizing a word for word script. That's not what's important. It's about how you speak to people, it's about the energy you purvey, and it's also about knowing what you know and being like, hey, I don't know that. Let me find it for you. I know somebody who does. Okay. So you need to realize that even if you are new, you are bringing value to this conversation. You know more about real estate than most people. Now, granted, you may not have been through a ton of transactions, but that's okay. You can borrow my credibility and all the agents at White Line as well. Somebody, I promise you, has been through a situation that might be talking to or dealing with. So you have that credibility. You've got a hell of a team behind you. So make sure that confidence comes through with that, and make sure you understand that you do bring value. Being a licensed agent, and A, being a licensed agent, and B, the people that you associate with, which is us here at White Line, guys. So you got to make sure. So let's go through these one at a time. So we're talking about confidence. So confidence isn't about being fearless. That's stupidity. Okay, if you're not scared, you're not paying attention. Okay, confidence comes from being ready, knowing your craft, knowing what's going on, and or knowing where to find the answers. Okay, you need to know whenever you're making phone calls or talking to people, you definitely need to know your talking points. Okay, that's more important than knowing a script. So things like, who am I here to help? What kind of problems do I want to solve? What options can you offer? Those are the big things that come out on this as we're going out and making cold calls. Those are the things you mainly need to know is, what am I talking about? What can I help with? And why am I calling? So all of that's important, more so than just a script. Okay. So, sorry, I lost my place in my notes. And then keep your CRM updated, guys. That's the next thing, is you need to keep your CRM updated, so that way your conversations, because there's no selling that happens on the first conversation. I can tell you that right now. Nobody sells on the first time. I mean, a few people do, but it's mostly luck, and that's volume. You get lucky on those. But sales usually come in multiple follow-ups with these things. And that's why I talked about the CRM, because the CRM is so important to keep up with those conversations. And if you're doing this right, you're having so many conversations, you're going to forget where you left the last one off. Okay. So what I want you to really do when you're making phone calls and you're talking to people, there's a saying that one of my mentors, his name is Mark Hamilton. Mark, if for any reason you're watching this, I love you. Thank you. Mark used to say something to me all the time. It's hard to be nervous when your mind's on service. When you are trying to help, your conversations come along so much more naturally. You tend to ask more questions in an effort to understand where they're coming from, and that's really important in sales. You tend to listen better. You tend to listen more intently. So stop worrying about closing a deal. Like, I got to get this guy. No, 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 no. You need to focus on helping. How can I help you? What's going on? What's your situation? Okay. Every person you talk to, you have to remember, is a human that has a story. Okay. They've got their own issues. They got their own problems. I don't know about you guys right now, but like, life's really stressful for me. There's a lot going on in my life, and it really doesn't matter to you. Like, you don't care. You're like, hey, Colin, help me. And so every human's like that. So when I'm talking to somebody, I'm trying to understand the situation, guys. You need to understand, in order to be a good salesperson, you are not selling, you are serving. You are there to help. Everybody thinks selling is about, knowing the perfect thing to say and neurolinguistic programming, or get them to say yes a whole bunch of times. So when you ask them for the close, they say yes, or guilt trip them, or come up with this objection. That is not the way I sell. And I don't want you to sell that way either. Okay. I want you to have that that service mindset, the mindset that we're here to help. Okay. So that's why I'm so comfortable speaking publicly. That's why I'm so comfortable doing videos all the time. That's why I'm very comfortable on sales calls, because my confidence comes from approaching with curiosity, not desperation. I want to know about your situation. And if I talk to enough people and understand enough people, I'm going to find somebody that I can help. And we're going to be able to move forward going from that. So I need you to get out of your head right now that selling is about twisting people's arms and getting that. No, it's not. And if you are good at that, then you probably have a lot of really upset clients and from the past, because you force them into something that they may or may not want. So I need you to follow up where confidence follow up is where confidence really shows, guys. If you are talking to people and not trying to hard press them for closes and not trying to do this, but trying to understand and going back and getting the sale at a later time, that's where your confidence shows up. That's when you start getting more confident, and you'll be able to answer questions quickly or overcome objections quickly. And that's another thing I want to talk about real quick, because a lot of people think that when you hear an objection, something went wrong. That is the exact opposite. If somebody gives me an objection, whatever it may be, that means I'm on the right direction. They're actually thinking through their steps. And so that's what makes it helpful. And if you don't have an answer to the objection, that's okay, guys, because you have to realize 80% of deals, it does not matter the industry, but especially in real estate, 80% of deals happen after the fifth follow up, okay? 5 follow ups. It's not about the first call or the second call. It's not the third. It's not the fourth. It is the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 10th call later. And that's where you start getting your confidence. And that's when you start closing deals. Okay. Confident agents follow up without being pushy. They don't feel pushy because they know they're offering value. When you call somebody and you have truly talked to them and you understand where they're coming from, what they're looking for, what their objectives are, when you go to call them back, you are going to sound so much more confident because you're calling back with solutions, with information, with whatever it might be, which once again is why that CRM is so important, guys. You have to have that CRM set up in there. And guys, like I said, whatever CRM you choose to use, it needs to be following up with text, and it needs to be following up with emails. You need to have all of that stuff in there. So whenever I get ready to call somebody, I pull up my CRM and I go all the way through that CRM. And I literally am like, okay, what were my last conversations? Oh yeah, and it usually sparks me, and I remember most of it. Sometimes I don't remember it at all, being honest, and I have to literally read through every bit of it so I make sure I am caught up with this, guys. Same thing comes if you're meeting people networking. If you're out networking and you end up with a stack of 20 business cards, you need to be able to write down on the back. I do that a lot. I write on the back of business cards. I come back, I put it in my CRM so I remember what I'm talking to them about. So how do we, when we're making calls, we're talking to people, how do we keep a conversation natural? And it's really easy. You ask questions. It's the simplest way to do it. I will give you a little bit of a sales tip. You want to ask open-ended questions, not close-ended questions. So if you can start off with a very quickly in the conversation, having an open-ended question. So it's not a question that has a yes or no or a definitive, um, like, answers, like how old are you, 40, right? That's definitive, and they answer the question and they're over it. You want open-ended questions. So like, how's your house treating you? If you're calling somebody else, how are you enjoying the house so far? And one of your past clients, right? What has changed since we last spoke? Open-ended, man. They could talk for 45 minutes about that. They may not, I don't know, but you want to try and focus on just asking questions. When I used to teach salespeople, I would jokingly say, can you ask 5 questions before you start talking about the product? Can you ask 10 questions? Can you do this entire thing with doing nothing but asking questions? Asking questions are so important, guys, and you need to be listening when they're talking to you, not waiting for your turn to speak. A lot of people make that mistake. is they're so worried about what they're going to say next that they're not listening to the people. And if you truly listen to them, you're going to know the next question that comes in. And it's really, really easy if you're asking questions and have a service mindset, guys. You got to listen more than you talk. Confidence is from quiet. Quiet people come off more confident than the people that are just talking the whole time. Those people are irritating, and they want to talk to you about something, but you don't give them an opportunity, and now they're irritated, and now you're just a blowhard. You're not confident. I think you know what I'm talking about when I say confidence is quiet. It doesn't mean that you don't say anything. It's just you wait and you intently listen. You do not wait for your turn to talk. You wait so you can hear them. Very, very big distinction. And it's a mindset that it's once you get into it, the rest of it becomes so much easier, right? Um, Whenever you're keeping a conversation natural or if it's open up, guys, like having your homework done and knowing what you're doing in your neighborhood, which we'll talk more about tomorrow, is going to be a big part of that. Making sure you have your insights, your sales data, buyer's demand, repair cost ranges, all that kind of stuff, depending on where you're at. But you need to not worry about saying that. You just need to worry about it. So that's how conversations stay confident, is that you've done your homework and you're listening and you're ready to answer their question. Okay. So what I want to do, what I wanted to talk about is like boosting your confidence. So how do I boost my confidence? How do I get ready to do some phone calls, Colin? Well, a big one is role play. If you're married, role play with your wife. And she doesn't even need to know. That sounded weird, but just, you know where I'm going with that. One of the really interesting things to do is I do this with my wife to practice my selling a lot, and it makes my wife feel so much better about what's going on in her world. But can you ask your spouse a bunch of questions about their day? Can you try to understand where it is? You know, the old joke is like, you know, you always ask your wife, it's like, do you want me to fix it or do you just want me to listen? Well, they actually really want both, but they need to make sure they're heard before you start offering suggestions. That's a big trick for the married men out there. And women, it's the same thing. It's like if you're talking too much and you're not listening, that's going to be really hard for anybody to really open up to you. And I think everybody's experienced that at one point in their life or another. So a good way to practice this is to do some role playing. And if you're not married, then find somebody else in white line and and go talk to them. Talk to them about what's going on with their day. And that's the first level of building confidence and speaking with people. If you don't have anybody, like, and by the way, don't fall for this trick and start practicing with your best friend. Don't fall for this and start doing that. Find somebody that's a little more distant from you. So come up to the White Line office. Come talk to one of the other agents that you really haven't talked to, and see how good you are about finding out what's going on in their world, what they're looking at, what can I help you with, what do you need, what kind of house are you looking for, what kind of like what are your clients looking for? Can I help you find those clients? Do you have any open houses that you need help with? What do you find is successful at open houses? What do you find? Guys, those kind of conversations, if you get really good at them, you're going to become a more confident cold caller, a more confident speaker. It's going to make everything so much easier. Some other ways to kind of boost my confidence is if I am making cold calls, I'll find myself standing up. I don't know why. As you can tell, I love my little AirPods and I wear them probably more than I should. I'm probably going to get some kind of weird ear cancer or something. But I have these things in all the time because when I'm talking to people, I tend to stand up and move around. One, I do have a little bit of an attention issue, but it also keeps me from being distracted with my computer. And I just feel more confident when I'm standing personally. So I would recommend standing up. The old adage is smile when you're speaking. People can hear it. If you're on the phone, that's a great practice. It will help boost your confidence. I know it sounds weird. Before I hit, this is stupid and I can't believe I'm admitting this, but before I hit record on my computer, every time I do one of these, I smile real big and I'm checking to make sure I don't have stuff in my teeth, number one. But number two is it does kind of get my confidence up. It gets me in the right headspace. Like I've had a very busy day today. I've had a lot of phone calls, a lot going on. More problems came out than I fixed. And I'm like, okay, I got to record this video. And I smiled for a minute and it completely changed my demeanor. Hopefully you can hear it in the way I speak. I feel more confident and I'm having a lot more fun doing it. And then make sure that you keep any of your success stories handy. That's another one. If you've been in the business for a while, a lot of people always ask me like, Colin, how do you know how to do all this? How do you know? I'm like, well, because these problems have happened to me. And those stories are very readily available, and you should keep them in your CRM. That's a great place to keep them because, once again, if you're writing stuff out, you're going to remember it better. So that helps with your confidence a lot. As you go through the hard things in life, you remember those things, you become more confident. You can share that confidence with others. And this is a complete side note, but since I said it, like, I honestly believe that so many people are struggling with depression and with other issues of not feeling very worthy or not being happy with life, because I honestly believe that life is about finding hard things and doing them. And once you cross that bridge, once you get through that fight, once you go through hell and you come out the other side, you feel more confident, more powerful, and that's going to bring you more joy when you go through the rest of your day-to-day stuff. So now, speaking of doing the hard things and getting through the other side, let's talk about our call to action for today. Okay. As a reminder, confidence doesn't come from reading scripts. That's why I don't provide you with a lot of scripts. There's a few of them here and there, but I don't really push them out. I'm not going to share them now, even though, because I know a lot of people are going to ask, so don't ask. It comes from doing the work. So here's your challenge today. I want you to open up that CRM. You've got your CRM, you've got your 100 people in there, and I want you to pick 10 of them at random and call them today. Call them right now, 10 people. You should be on the phone for about 10 to 15 minutes. It might take you a little bit while. Some people may answer, some don't. I need you to talk to 10 people, okay? I need you to ask them questions. I want you to get in the habit of asking questions. Hey, man, we haven't talked in a while. How are you doing? What are you up to nowadays? What is going on? They're going to talk to you, and they will ask you, what are you doing nowadays? And guess what? There's your opening on that door, okay? Remember, 80% of agents quit after 2 follow-ups. I'm willing to bet that 80% of the agents watching this video are going to be too damn lazy to get on the phone and call 10 people. It cannot be people that, it can't be your best friend that you talked to 4 hours ago. It can't be your mom. I need you to call 10 people that you haven't talked to in a recent amount of time, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't try and get into technicalities on this one, okay? Which means, so 80% of people fail because they don't call more than twice. So what I want you to do is I want you to get on the phone, and I want you, that 100 contacts, I want you to do at least 10 today. I want you to do 10 tomorrow. And if they don't answer, put them back on the list to call the following day. Leave a message. Hey, man, I was just calling to check on you. Call me back. Because remember, we're going through our farm area. We're going through our people. We're trying to get those referrals, and you need to start talking to people. And I need it to be a little uncomfortable on your end, and I need you to get past that uncomfortableness. I need you to be ready to talk to the next person, ready to talk to their referral, and I need you to practice asking questions, having your mind set on service, and being comfortable talking to people, asking questions, doing the whole thing. Okay, guys? So confidence is built through action, not excuses. I don't have time. I got to go pick up my kids in a little bit. Call somebody on the way to pick up your kids. Quit with the excuses. I'm tired of this. There's so many people that want to be a great agent but don't do a damn thing, and it drives me insane. So today, do the reps. Today, do the 10 reps, and then tomorrow we're going to do it again. Because if you don't do the 10 if you don't do the 10 calls today, you are absolutely no better than you were yesterday, and you're no better than you are today. The only way to get better is to push yourself, get a little bit uncomfortable until you stop being uncomfortable. So today, 10 calls, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day number 8.